the statement that the finance ministry issued will amount to fearmongering. I don't think that the statement captures all relevant information and available facts. So if you take it on the face of it, assuming that what the finance minister has put there, finance ministry has put there is accurate.
Thank you.
When you are trying to balance the economic consequences or the financial consequences of a bill or an act, you have to consider both the potential benefits and the potential cost. And this has been extremely one-sided, itemizing what may happen. I mean, what they think will happen, and with absolutely no consideration of if there's anything potentially positive or any potential benefit from passing the bill. I think, I mean, I haven't studied too much the science of what happens to LGBT and what does it happen or how people become, but what I know, what there is documented evidence about is that, you know, HIV spreads higher, especially among gays. So if you are thinking about a law that could potentially, if the law could potentially reduce the impact of those kind of relationships, then we know that we spend a lot of money on, addressing issues of HIV/AIDS. So you also want to consider what kind of savings could we potentially make from that. So what I'm saying is that when you are trying to give a fair assessment of what a law will do, you don't just look at one side, it's a cost and benefit. So if you think that there's no benefit, just state that clearly. So on that score, I don't think the statement by the finance ministry was objective and fair-minded and complete. The issue about whether the amount that's been put out that we stand to lose will actually happen, I think, so first of all, let's look at what precedents do we have. First, a lot of the costs that were identified were attributed to the World Bank. Now, if you look at the history of the World Bank, and thankfully there are a lot of countries that has similar laws like the anti-LGBT bill, some even with more stiff punishment than Ghana has. And we have to try and understand, so what has happened to them by way of the financial implications. I think the most severe one, the one that we've seen the most reaction to, was the one that was passed by Uganda. Now, in the Ugandan case, if you read, so after the Ugandan law was passed, I think the World Bank sent a team there to try and understand what is happening, and then they did issue a statement. Now, the statement they issued on 8 August 2023, part of that, so they obviously expressed what they felt was their concern about the law, but the big part that concerns what will happen to additional funding to Uganda reads, and I'm quote, "No new public funding to Uganda will be presented to our board of executives until the efficacy of additional measures have been stressed, has been tested," end quote. So clearly, the emphasis was on additional funding, new funding that has not been approved already.
So let me just, yes, so there's a document, the document on your screen now is the IMF's position on this is the IMF executive board's completing the fifth review under the extended credit facility arrangement for Uganda. What is in, and that happened on the 6th, this was published on the 6th of March, just a couple of days ago. They had undergone their fifth review, even though Uganda, we know, has some of the very strict laws on homosexuality and LGBT, etc. Here we are, just testing the claim by the finance ministry that if the president assents to this, the IMF and the World Bank are going to jettison us. This is the IMF, even in the midst of these harsh punishments being imposed on persons of that nature in Uganda, still going ahead to give board approval to their request from the IMF. Over $100 million being made available, about to be disbursed to them following their review of their situation. So the point really people are making is that it is neither here nor there. A country like Uganda that is gained notoriety for imposing very stiff sanctions on LGBT. What's the name? The IMF, that we fear, is still going ahead to engage with them, and nothing is happening. So this statement by the IMF, by the finance minister, as you say, was just a matter of fear mongering, just to buttress the point you were making.
Absolutely. And even in the case of the World Bank is the one that issued a direct response to the Ugandan bill. And even then, what they did mention is that there are additional measures to test the efficacy of their policies in the light of the new law. It didn't make any categorical statement that we are stopping any funding. Well, the only thing they said is that they are not going to present any new funding request from Uganda to their board until such an assessment has been done.